For those who don't know, the workers of CN Rail and CPKC Rail are striking. This comes after a lockout by the companies after failing to reach an agreement at the bargaining table, essentially forcing the workers into a strike, which they were prepared to do anyway. And then the rail companies freaked the fuck out and asked the government to step in to force the workers back to work. And now the government has called for binding arbitration, a process where a neutral mediator arrives at a solution for both parties. Workers return back to work by Monday morning after striking for just 2 days. So basically the bosses were negotiating terms with the workers, a constitutional right of workers known as collective bargaining. And then the bosses didn't like how the negotiations were going, so they stopped the trains and locked the workers out. Stay with me for a second here. And then the workers were like, okay, I guess we're locked out, so we won't go to work. You guys locked us out of work. We can't go to work. And then the bosses were like, holy shit, this is gonna cripple the fucking economy. We need to get the government involved and get these guys back to work. And the government was like, yeah, fuck collective bargaining. Again, guys, a constitutional right. Send these guys back to work. Negotiations are over. We'll appoint someone to decide for you. So instead of the workers and bosses arriving at an agreement cooperatively, like what's supposed to happen, again, guys, constitutional right, the bosses get to essentially end negotiations by force with the help of the government. Like, this is fucking crazy. To explain why the need for negotiations in this case is so important, let's dive into some of the working conditions at Canada's two biggest railway companies.
Already overworked train crews are being asked to work even more hours, and the union says it doesn't want that to lead to another deadly rail disaster like the one in Lac-Mégantic. Right now, they're on call almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Workers have 2 hours to report to work if they're called in. And they're not told until they get in how long they'll have to work, which in some cases could be a few days.
That's right, days. Imagine your boss calls you into work in the middle of the night, makes you work for 3 days, and you have to sleep at the office. And then you try to negotiate the terms of that agreement, and they lock you out of your job, turn it into a national scandal, and get the government involved. Someone's not getting a world's best boss mug for Christmas this year, I'll tell you that. Here's Union President Francois Laporte explaining why it's probably not a good idea to have people operating trains while staying up for days at a time, because apparently that's something that needs to be explained. Everywhere across the country, you see trains passing by carrying chemical products, energy, oil. We don't want to see another Lac-Mégantic accident. We want people who operate the train, people who are not fatigued. Lac-Mégantic accident, by the way, was a major railway accident in 2013 which killed 47 people.
Explosion after explosion after a runaway train carrying crude oil partially derailed in the center of town. Police are only giving a rough estimate of the number missing because fire and risk of more explosions have kept them from the worst hit area.
So if I'm getting this right, it sounds like the union wants workers to be safe and people not to die. Okay, but there's probably more to this story. Let's hear what the railway companies have to say about this. This is the spokesperson for CN Rail, Jonathan Abacassis.
One of the railways, CN, says the union is actually more concerned about money.
The first page of their demands is all about wages.
Oh, dear Lord. How dare they? These guys shouldn't care about money? Money? Being fairly compensated for their work? They should be doing it for the love of the game. They shouldn't even get paid. Rail workers should be a volunteer position as far as I'm concerned. This guy, Jonathan Abacassis, is on the right track, I think. And I'm sure Jonathan makes a very reasonable salary for his anti-union media relations job at CN Rail. Let's have a look. Yahoo Finance lists Abacassis as a key executive of CN Rail. All of the salaries made public on this 10-person list are over $1 million. And that's before all those $1 million bonuses. Jonathan's salary isn't listed here, but we can assume it's similar to the others on the list. 2.62 million, 1.42 million, 1.3 million, 1 million, 1 million. So Jonathan, like other senior colleagues of CN Rail listed here, probably has a roughly $1 million salary. And here he is on the news chastising workers for wanting more money as well as a safer work environment. When safety does become an issue, as workers are telling you it will, you and the other key executives aren't the ones that will experience the fallout of that. The injuries, the deaths, the legal implications. But you are in a position to profit from ignoring these safety issues. Those Christmas bonuses aren't gonna look quite as nice if we start reducing hours now, are they? So here's a question, CBC. Why the fuck are you even interviewing this guy? We already know his position. He's getting paid to slander the union and make workers look bad. This is like asking George Foreman what type of grill to buy. He's only gonna have one answer. And people are like, oh, I just don't know who's telling the truth. The guys operating the railroad say the railroad is unsafe. But the guy getting paid millions of dollars to say the railroad is safe says the railroad is safe. I just don't know who to believe. Also, the fact that CN Rail has this spokesperson lying and saying that safety isn't a concern of the union, but self-admittedly also wanting to increase hours is insane. This is crazy. Clearly, safety is a primary concern. And so is money. Because this smug asshole shouldn't be one of 10 people in the whole company being appropriately compensated. And yes, this picture was taken the same day as that interview. He did that interview and was like, fuck the strike, fuck the workers, I'm the best, that'll be $1 million, please. And then he took this smug ass picture. Look at this, bro's flexing the Apple Watch. He's crushing unions and flexing the Apple Watch, guys. I'm sorry, I hate this guy. I hate him. We're beefing now. I have beef with the media relations guy from CN Rail. Let's see how all the super pro-worker political parties feel about all this. The Liberals, siding with the bosses. Helping them do this shit, actually. Conservatives, literally haven't said a word. The PPC, let's see, I got a quote here. Is this about immigrants? Because if this isn't about immigrants, I don't care. Okay. NDP, actually joining the picket line. See, and this is what makes me think Jagmeet is actually kind of base. Jagmeet Singh slams the Liberals for being anti-worker and joins the picket line. It's obvious who's truly pro-worker. But it's also obvious that NDP could be doing way more. Like, yo, if you guys want to seem really pro-worker, this is the time to do it. I mean, and this is going to be controversial. I continue to find myself saying that Jagmeet Singh needs to pull the plug on the confidence agreement with the Liberals. Like, just to let workers know he stands on business. But I'm increasingly confident he will never do that. Because this isn't even the first time something like this has happened and the Liberals allowed some shady shit to happen to workers. And Jagmeet Singh, with the full power of the supply and confidence agreement, was kind of just standing there like, hey guys, please don't do that. Please be a little more pro-worker. Come on, Justin. For me, for you, buddy, please.